Welcome. Tonight I'm going to go through the use of Lightroom 4 in an automated EAA fashion. Basically, you can set Lightroom 4 up to automatically monitor a folder and automatically apply any kind of stretch you like to that image as it brings the image into Lightroom. So it's kind of like an astro toaster, except it won't stack and won't derotate. So I use it a lot just for outreach and showing people things that don't need stacking, because I don't want to wait around and they don't want to wait around while it stacks. And it relies on any of the acquisition programs that are around, like SharpCap or Fire Capture and Backyard Nikon, Backyard EOS, Canon EOS Utilities, etc. They all can lodge a image, a frame, in a folder. And as long as that folder is set up in Lightroom to be monitored, Lightroom will grab it non-destructively, grab it and tweak it for you. So I'm going to show you an example of that right now, right here. These are my example images. They're JPEGs, but of course Lightroom can look at raw images and TIFFs and FITs and you name it, PNGs, etc. This is the Flame Nebula and the horse heads around here somewhere. That's a 30-second ISO 800 shot out of an f5 scope. Now I'm at home because it's cloudy again outside, so I'm showing you on my desktop PC, which hasn't got a camera attached and there's nothing to look at through the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy these and I'm going to paste them into this folder here, which is my folder that I've set up to be monitored by Lightroom. And I can see there I've called it Test Monitor. Over here in the background, this is Lightroom set up to run in automatic import mode, and so let's kick it off. So you tell your acquisition program to take a shot and it will automatically, you can set them all up to automatically put that frame into a folder. So at some point in time it will come into this folder, and I'm just simulating that like this. You see it there, and Lightroom will pick it up and process it. Watch that change. There we go. See how bright it is? It's already applied the stretch, etc. So there was the original, and there's that one. And all you do is double click it. Now I'm using a general preset stretch, which is really good for pretty much anything, and especially outreach. But I'll show you a little bit further in the video how you can set up specific stretches for your particular camera at its particular gain and its particular exposure times, if you want to go that far with it. But for this, it's quite okay for outreach just as it is. People really don't care about the noise and so forth. They just are fascinated by what they can see. But this library module has a bunch of controls which I advise you don't use because they're a little bit too savage. If you go into this develop module, okay, it's got much more smoother controls to use. So should you be doing EAA by yourself, it's just like the Astro Toaster type tweaks or some of those that you see in SharpCap and that. You can clearly see the background is too overexposed, so I'll drop the black point just by moving the slider off to the left a little. You can see the image changing, and I can use contrast to make that stuff pop a little, but of course every time you raise contrast you get a bit more grain and noise. Okay, but you can see what I'm doing. I won't really go into all the tweaking other than to say it's got a lovely denoising tool. Shows you the areas that it's picked with the most noise. You can drag it around if you want to choose a different area, and then you just adjust the luminance noise to your heart's content. Of course you're going to lose some of the detail if you do, and you don't want to take it too far, but it's smoothed it out quite a lot. It also has a pretty neat vignetting tool down here. Not going to use that now, like I said. You can tweak that to your heart's content. But very simple sliders, just like Toaster and many of the other photo editing applications. It doesn't stack, it doesn't derotate, but it does give you a pleasing image pretty darn quickly. Okay, so what's left? Well, of course, now that I've sort of gone into the develop module, the next image that comes in, you don't have to go through all that rigmarole of double clicking to make it big and moving into the development module. Every image that comes in, so this is the Sculptor Galaxy, okay, as it automatically comes in and you tell the acquisition program to take it and it lodges it in here, it just processes it. So ready, here it comes, boom. And again, it's only put that pre-stretch on that I told it to. It's reset all of these sliders. So again, I'm going to have to just drop the black point a tad and raise the contrast a tad. You notice all the hot pixels. This is an unmodded Canon 700D, I think it is, the one I've got. And yeah, she shows lots of hot pixels in 30 seconds compared to my modded 650. But anyway, it's a 700D unmodded, blah blah blah. It's a good camera. Alright, and the last example is whatever that is, a bit of nebulosity in something. We won't even bother going there. I'll show you what how to set this up. Okay, so first up, in this develop module, which we are in, you can see over on the left hand side here, presets. And these ones, as it says, Lightroom in front of it, are all the standard Lightroom presets. And the three that I've set up in my generic preset that's supplied to these images you've seen come in are under General Preset. And I'll show you those in a minute of how to set them up. There's only three. And importantly though, while this image is here, there's kind of like another picture of it up here. This is a preview window that shows you what happens to this main image if you apply any of these presets down here. So under user presets, I've got one called clusters, ISO 6400 seconds 8, that's what that means. I have since changed that naming convention, by the way. This is my desktop PC where I kind of mucked around developing all this idea. Out in the field, I call mine ASI G300S8 or something like that, meaning my ZWO ASI camera at a gain of 300 for 8 seconds. And I've got a variety of those at different gains and different exposures for that camera. But generally speaking, I like this one down here, which I created, called Lightroom Standard Presets. And again, watch this image up here. As I roll through these user presets, that was that first one. I wouldn't select that because it's very dark. This Easy Neb one, okay, again I wouldn't call it that now, but you can see what it does. This one's, which I imagine is Galaxy something something something, would have done a pretty good job, and so on and so forth. And the thing is, this is why this is interesting. Remember how as the shots came in, it stayed in this develop module at full screen applying the original preset? Well, likewise, if I simply scroll over here to the left and try any of my out in the field ASI 224 presets for different gain and exposure time, if I see this image up here look really pleasing compared to what I've got with the standard stretch, I can just click on it and it'll change it. And then I go, no, I don't like that one, I'll go to this one, click on it, it changes. I'll try that one, click on it, changes. So again, if you're doing live EAA and you're kind of lazy, like I am, you don't want to wait for stacking to happen and yada yada yada, you can snap off a single shot, reduce the noise quite substantially and get a pretty darn good image straight up. So you'll notice that this preset here has got a plus sign next to it. That indicates, if I right click it, that this is ticked apply on import. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of undo the automatic process, then show you how to set up that standard stretch, and then how to basically make it automated again. So the fact that that's ticked, if you click it, it'll take it off. You can see the plus sign disappeared. You come up to File, come down to Auto Import, come across here. Don't worry about unticking that. It's actually hidden in here. Auto Import Settings, click that. See the checkbox? unclick it. Make sure this watched folder is the one that your acquisition program is going to lodge the shots in. This destination folder is where it's moved the folders as they've moved in. So your acquisition program was dropping it into, in my case, test monitor. Remember, I was actually pasting them in there, and as Lightroom processed, they disappeared. They didn't disappear because they've gone into Lightroom. They've disappeared because they've gone to users Carl Pictures, which is the folder I sent them to. So in that folder is the original shots, while Lightroom has a copy in its library, basically, which gets modified. Okay, so just make sure you set up kind of like a retain this for future use type of a folder. And lastly, develop settings, and you can see there I've got it set to LR standard presets. I'll just make that none and click OK, and that's it. It is no longer working in automatic mode. Again, just to show you up here, see over here, that's automatically taken that checkbox off there, so it's now, it will not process anything. Okay, so what did I do to set this up? I'll show you. First of all, I'm clicking on library. I'm going to get to the grid view and just delete those two, or sorry, remove from library. You do get the option to delete from disk if you really want to, but I just want to remove from Lightroom. Okay, so let me grab a shot. Now we'll grab that first one. I'll put it back into this folder just for the heck of it. Okay, alright, so you can see I've dragged and dropped it there as if the camera was taking a shot, but because I've turned the automatic monitoring process off, it's not doing anything. So you need a photo in here in order to set up a preset. You just drag it across, and you can see it's not actually a library. Remember, we had library and develop up here. It's actually saying, well, what do you want to do with this? Make sure you say copy, and down here import, and now it's imported into the library, and you can see it's the original unadulterated file. It hasn't actually applied anything because we're not in automatic mode. But once you've got that set, or once you've got that in, double click, and here's the 3 presets I set up. See, it says saved preset. Just go in here down to general. Auto tone is the first, just click it. The next one is general presets again, medium contrast curve, click it, because these are additive, it does each in turn. Okay, and then same thing, Lightroom general presets, punch, click it, and that I said go and save as that other thing. So to save, you have to go into develop module, and you come over here to this plus sign and you add that preset. Leave all of this stuff down here ticked. Don't tick the auto tone. If you do, it gets rid of this basic tone stuff. So don't tick that. Leave all of these ticked. And up here is where I previously typed in this LR standard presets name in there. I will call it this time LR standard presets 2. And as I say, create, there it is, there it appears. So to set that up, that's a generic stretch which works for pretty much everything. It's a good starting point to then go and start tweaking these individually, whether it's a Galaxy or whatever, or allowing you to roll over these other presets for your ASI camera, your Nikon camera, or your Canon camera, whatever you set up as your user presets. I haven't reached the limit on that yet. I've got no idea if there is a limit. I've probably got about 30 on my laptop. But anyway, there it is there. Now, how do I make it automatic? Now that I've just got those 3 simple Lightroom available stretches in there, I just right click and click this apply on import. Come up here to file, down here to auto import, and across to this bottom one, auto import settings. Click that. Make sure that monitored folder is correct. Make sure you know where your copying those original JPEGs or RAW files or whatever you're shooting in. So you keep them, and down here, develop settings. This is the important one. Which preset are we going to apply? And you scroll down to user presets, and you go to, in this case, LR standard presets 2. You click it, click OK, it's done. It will now once again, and you can see there it's just automatically processed that one. See it disappear out of there. So we know it's all working. We know that it's actually doing those presets. So that's how you set it up to automatically monitor a folder, how you set up a pre-stretch or preset stretch, and how you can set up multiple of these, and some clues how you can set up 4 different cameras at different gain, exposures and so forth. And as I keep repeating, it's only on single shots, but you know, for outreach and for doing a quick look at things and explaining things to people and observing rather than trying to get a pretty picture. If I'm observing, I can look at stuff and gaze at this wonderful dust lane stuff that's going on here. That just fascinates me. But yeah, there we go. That's how you use it. I hope you found it useful. It's yet another weapon in the arsenal of trying to do things live and as near real time as you can. But of course, you know, as per many times people have commented to me, some folk really like getting almost true astro photographs out there when they're doing EAA. That's fine. I'm just not that way. I liked 30 seconds and maybe a bit of tweaking like this. That'll do me. It's got a bit of noise. I don't really care. For instance, I personally wouldn't even bother dropping the black point in this one. If I was out in the field at night, I'd be quite happy with that. I'd be looking at it going, wow, have a look at this. What's this bit going on here? Let me go and research that. There's another bit of nebulosity going on there. I can see the hydrogen blown away by that star there in a bubble. That sort of stuff's pretty darn fascinating to me. That's what I'd do it for. I don't care, it's got noise and sort of a grey background, but everybody's different, I accept that. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. As I said, yet another weapon. And last little bit, of course, the interesting thing is that Canon EOS utilities, not sure about backyard Nikon, backyard EOS, but I certainly know Canon EOS utilities, and there are applications you can use on a MacBook to do your camera acquisition. I have controlled my ASI 224 on it, and I cannot remember the name of the program. I'm sorry, but I have used it on my MacBook to control the 224, and it's got like a save button, or it's almost like a record button, which takes the frame and chucks it down on disk. And of course, Lightroom runs on a Mac as well. So for me, it's a great little tool, and I especially like the denoising if I want to try and reduce a bit of noise, and down here the vignetting tool as well, which I won't show you. I'll leave it up to you to find out. Thank you for watching. Hope you do get something out